Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. Today, we're going to be talking about the House of Seven Gables. If you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe, help a girl out. Um, it is the first day of July when this is being recorded. Also, it started my birth month, so I'm trying to get as much as I can done because I have been working like crazy, guys, so please bear with me. With that being said, why don't I just go ahead and dive into it, shall I? Um, The House of Seven Gables can be known for two things: Turner House and the Ingersoll Mansion. Now, this mansion is in Salem, Massachusetts, and I feel like I have not talked about Salem in a good minute, so let's talk about it. I know that I spoke about Nathaniel Hawthorne, and I think it was on my Dark Academia podcast. Now, it was Hawthorne's that made the house famous in 1851 with his novel, The House of Seven Gables. Today, the house is a non-profit museum which you have to pay the admission fee, and you can even tour, as well as the active settlement house with programs with local immigrant communities, including an ESL and citizenship class. And it was built for Captain John Turner and has stayed in the family for 3 generations. Now, 3 generations? The house to stay in the family that long? That's some British stuff going on right there. So, let's talk about the history of the house. The earliest section of the House of the Seven Gables was built in 1668 for Captain John Turner. He was a wealthy sea captain, a merchant that was born in Salem in 1644, and he partially funded the house's construction through his business of selling fish to slave plantations in the West Indies. Now, the property remained in the family's possession for 3 generations, descending from John Turner II to John Turner III. Facing south toward the Salem harbor, it was originally a 2-room, 2.5-bath house with a projecting front porch and a massive central chimney. And the house now forms the middle of the house. This portion of the house is now in the middle of the house, and it's 4 windows of the original ground floor, which became known as the dining room, and remains in the house's side as well. Now, a few years later, a kitchen, lean-to, and new north kitchen out to the rear of the house where it was added, and by 1678, Turner added a spacious south extension, which, with its own chimney, containing a parlor on the ground floor, with a large bedchamber above it. Now, ceilings in this new wing are higher than very low ceilings or bars. Now, the new wing featured double decasement, windows on an overhang, and a carved pendants. And it was also capped with a 3-gabled garret. Now, in the first half of the 19th century, John Turner II remodeled the house in the New Georgian style, adding wood paneling and sash windows, and these alterations are preserved. Very early examples of the Georgian decor. Now, the House of the Seven Gables is one of the oldest surviving timber frame mansion houses in the continental North America. It has 17 bedrooms and is over 8,000 square feet, y'all. Okay, that seems better because the lighting is bugging me for a minute. I don't know why. Okay, I like that better. But I think that was the lighting I originally had, but anyway. After John Turner III lost the family fortune, the house was acquired by the Ingersolls, who remodeled it again, and gables was removed, porches replaced, and the Georgian trim added. Now, how is this the inspiration for Hawthorne? Well, Hawthorne was a relative of the Ingersolls and was infamous for being reclusive during his time in Salem, and just because Hawthorne himself exaggerated his reputation. He occasionally played whist, for example, with his sister Louisa, his second cousin Susanna, and Ingersoll's sole adopted son Horace Connolly. Now, Hawthorne was occasionally entertained in the house by Susanna, but by his time, the house had only 3 gables. After the renovation and was also more current architectural trends, his cousin told him of the house this day, and it showed him beams and mortises in the attic, indicating the locations of the former gables. Now, Hawthorne was inspired by the way of the 7 Gables, including, which sounded than the house looked like. He also wrote as an expression that the expression was new and struck me forcefully, and I think I shall make something of it. And this idea inspired the novel The House of the 7 Gables. Now, he wrote of the house as if he was living there, and he described it as like the aspect of the venerable mansion has always affected me like a human countenance, and it was itself like a human heart, with a light on it full of riches and somber reminiscence and everything. Now, in writing, my laptop's going crazy on me, y'all. I'm sorry. Now, in writing the book, he compared the process of constructing an actual house. In January 1851, he wrote to his publisher, James T. Fields, about when the book was nearly finished, and he sent his first manuscript to Fields by the end of that month. Now, let's talk about it as a museum. Before 1908 to 1910. In 1908, the house was purchased by Caroline O. Emberton, who was the founder of the House of 7 Gables Settlement Association, and restored it from 1908 to 1910 as a museum whose admissions fees would support the association. The Boston architect Joseph Everett Chandler supervised the restoration, which, among the others alterations, reconstructed the missing gables, and in some cases, historically authenticity was sacrificed to the interest of the appealing visitors. Now, there was this reputation of moss well, which was added to the garden. Now, she was also added that what looks like a wood closet, but just to be a false back. And which opened the back that leads to a secret staircase which leads to the attic. I love a secret staircase, y'all. Don't judge me. I do. I also want a house that has like a secret room. Yeah, I know. But there's many interesting features of the original mansion that remain, including an unusual form of wall insulation, original beams and rafters, and extensive Georgian panel. Now, Nathaniel Hawthorne's birthplace is immediately adjacent to the House of the 7 Gables, and had access to it granted on a regular admissions fee on the ground. Although it is indeed the house in which Hawthorne was born and lived in for the house was sited a few blocks away from the Union Street which he inhabited. In 1994, the Siemens Visitor Center was opened as a historical site, and the Visitor Center was named in honor of the Siemens family. Donald C. Seaman was responsible for building the project and was the president of the House of 7 Gables Settlement Association. On March 29, 2007, the House of 7 Gables Historic District was designated a national landmark, and as of 2022, the house is open to the public, and in April 1910 has been seen by millions since. That's it for this episode. Our next 12 episodes are going to be focused very historically. So just a heads up, that's not something you're into. You have that right. But I will see y'all later.